Could the end times be upon us? Throughout the ages, humanity has had a morbid fascination with the end of the world. In many ways, it determines how we live our lives, and still to this day is the subject of popular movies, books, and TV shows. For thousands of years, people have made prophecies about cataclysmic world-ending events, some of which are even feared to this day. This is Ancient Origins, and today we'll be exploring 7 ancient apocalyptic prophecies. Subscribe for more fascinating historical videos like this one. Number 1. The Viking Ragnarok. Ragnarok is world famous as the Viking myth of the apocalypse and was even the theme of a blockbuster Marvel movie. In short, it is the prophecy of the ultimate destruction of the universe and all its inhabitants, including the mighty gods of Asgard. The word Ragnarok itself is Old Norse and means the fate of the gods. Though they made no claim or guess as to when this event would happen in the future, it was something that every Viking was painfully aware of as an inevitable conclusion to their world. According to the prophecy, a great winter will descend upon the earth, more frigid and icy than any before it, even drowning out the warmth of the sun itself. Lasting 3 times as long as a regular winter, mankind will be driven to utter barbarism due to scarcity of resources and the harsh conditions. An age of animalistic struggle for survival will lead to total societal collapse as people resort to theft and murder for food and other necessities. As this happens, many cataclysms will befall the heavens and the dome of the sky will split open. The dreaded fire giants will emerge from this cosmic rift, accompanied by all manner of fearsome beast and creature. The massive invaders will lumber across the Bifrost Bridge to Asgard, which will shatter and fall away behind them. Though they know the prophecies and realize that their time is at an end, the mighty gods will do battle as they always do in the face of futility. Mighty Odin, father of the gods, will fight valiantly with the warriors of Valhalla against the giant wolf, Fenris. But despite his best efforts, he is killed by the creature, whose throat is then slashed. Both Odin and the beast are killed in quick succession. Heimdall and Loki slay each other, as do many other ancient foes, cancelling each other out on the battlefield. Finally, Thor and his age-old enemy, the World Serpent, face each other in combat at last, and Thor is bitten by the snake before he smashes its brains in with a mighty hammer blow, killing it. Thor seemingly stands triumphant. However, the venom from the creature's bite takes him, and he will take 9 paces before succumbing to his wounds, falling dead on the gore-stained battlefield with everyone else. With the last of the gods dead and the cosmos in smouldering ruins, the remains of creation will quietly sip under the sea and wink out of existence, leaving nothing behind but void. All that has ever happened will cease to be, as if it had never been in the first place. Number 2. An eternal battle between light and darkness. The Iranian religion of Zoroastrianism is one of the most ancient religions still practiced today. They claim that their prophet Zoroaster wrote ancient texts foretelling the dualistic nature of the world's final destiny. According to his teaching, the god of light, Ahura Mazda, has been in constant battle with the god of darkness, Ahriman, since the dawn of time. Throughout the ages, the gods, humans, and creatures of the cosmos aligned themselves with one deity or another. Finally, at the end of time, Ahura Mazda will defeat Ahriman, vanquishing his powers of darkness and wiping that age-old corruption from the face of the universe. The dead will rise from the grave for a final judgment, and the wicked will undergo 3 days of punishment before being granted redemption. A paradise will be ushered in, and the good will reign in light for all eternity. Number 3. Monstrous beasts and false prophets. The biblical book of Revelation, also known as the Book of the Apocalypse, is the final book of the Christian Bible. It was said to have been written by the Apostle John while he was exiled on the Greek island of Patmos. John claims to have been given a vision of the end of the world as we know it by God. He describes horrific prophetic images. According to his prophecy, a series of terrifying demonic creatures, including beasts, false prophets, and dragons, will emerge from the abyss of the ocean and the earth. The first beast is described as having 7 horned heads and what John calls the name of blasphemy engraved upon it. He describes it as resembling a leopard with other animal characteristics, and it will perform supernatural feats which cause the people to worship it. The others are similarly horrifying. They allegedly will force people to receive the mark of the beast engraved on their hand on pain of death. According to the text, the saints will be killed and martyred in their droves, and terror will reign over the earth as these beings persecute God's faithful. Christ himself will finally return and cast these wicked creatures into hell, saving the good and judging the bad among humanity. Number 4. Drowning the human race. The Epic of Gilgamesh is one of the most epic poems in history and originates in Mesopotamia. It features the mighty hero King Gilgamesh and his quest to find the secret of immortality. While on his journey, Gilgamesh encounters an immortal man named Utnapishtim who tells the story of how long ago the king of the gods, Enlil, drowned humanity in a great deluge of water out of rage. However, due to his piety, Utnapishtim and his family were warned ahead of time and allowed to build a large boat, whereupon he herded animals and his relatives on board. Because of this, when the flood came, they survived this apocalyptic event, and as a reward, Utnapishtim was made an immortal god and allowed to repopulate the earth. If the story of a pious man building a large boat to save his family and animals from a global flood sounds familiar, that's no coincidence. Utnapishtim is believed to be a proto-version of the Noah story, which will be told by the Hebrews centuries later in their own religious texts. As Utnapishtim was granted immortality, Noah supposedly lived over 900 years according to Jewish custom, showing yet another similarity between these ancient Middle Eastern tales. Number 5. Swords clash and blood is spilled. Ancient Chinese texts record a fascinating concept of the world's ultimate fate. In many different cultures, doomsday prophecies describe the world ending with a bang, a single cataclysmic event that brings the universe to a crescendo. But the ancient Chinese Buddhists had a more gradual idea. They believed that the Dharma, or universal law, is gradually breaking down and has been since the beginning of time. Over centuries, as it degrades more and more, our traditional understanding of the world will disappear. People's lifespans will vary dramatically, from thousands of years to a mere 10 years. The length of their lives will be determined by each person's individual moral virtue, and ultimately human beings will become so warlike that they will quickly butcher each other. Human life will end in quick succession as swords clash and blood is spilled. Finally, a few virtuous survivors will flee to the wilderness and wait out the bloodshed until the violence has ended. They will then repopulate the earth with the ideals of virtue in mind, and the cycle of the universe will repeat. Number 6. Societal collapse. The Buddha himself allegedly described his own teachings fading away into obscurity after 5,000 years. It's believed that his relics will be gathered and cremated, and all traces of his philosophy will pass away. This means, unlike other doomsday prophecies which are supposed to happen at an indeterminate time, Buddhists estimate that the world will begin to end approximately around the year 4600 AD. Human society will degenerate morally and spiritually and devolve into a period of greed, lust, poverty, and murder. However, in the midst of this chaos, they believe that an era will arise when a new Buddha will emerge, Buddha Maitreya. He will be a great teacher and restore the knowledge of the Dharma and the 10 virtuous deeds to society. Humanity will rediscover enlightenment and a beautiful golden age will be ushered in. Number 7. Shamans and Doomsday Messiahs. Still today, many Inuit peoples believe that when their epic nomadic hero, Kiviuk, finally dies, that the world around them will come to an end. However, modern versions of the story incorporate certain Christian apocalyptic elements. This is because the Inuit culture was influenced heavily by the teachings of the European missionaries. The result is a unique, messianic hybrid of Christian theology and shamanistic tradition. This anticipation of the world's end sometimes had unfortunate consequences, however. In the settlement at Payne, Canada in 1920, many Inuit locals believed that omens were foreshadowing an imminent doomsday. In response, they slaughtered their sled dogs, which were essential for their survival, and this incident led to great hardship for the tribe. There was also an Inuit movement called the Turning Over from the 1930s onward, where a series of figures would come forward, each claiming to be a messiah, and would predict the end of the world, gathering followers to themselves. They would pray and do traditional dances in anticipation of the return of Jesus. Could there be any truth to these stories? Whatever our beliefs are, the end of the world has been a fascination of human beings for millennia. Interested in learning more? Our Ancient Origins magazine this month is all about cataclysm, volcanic eruptions that changed history, How did the ancients understand meteors? What were the effects of the Ice Age on our ancestors? Discover all this and more by checking out our Ancient Origins magazine on our premium site. Follow the link below for more info. Which doomsday prophecy do you think could be likely, if any? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching.